I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And let's have a moment of silence for the families that have lost loved ones and those that were passed away yesterday. Thank you. Excuse me. Before we start to get too far into the meeting tonight, I'd like to share with the public that's watching online, the folks that are here. We received a framed picture and certificate. This is dealing with, as many will remember, about a year and a half ago, we did a land swap with the stone quarry up by Moore Park. And this is documentation that was signed by the governor authorizing us to go forward with that. So Senator Bonisic was very gracious to give this to us to commemorate what that activity. So the benefit of that is, especially as we come into the fall, the leaves are turning. Folks that may be watching online, it's a great time to go up and get a gorgeous view of the valley, and especially as the leaves turn. So take advantage of Moore Park and what Walt's guys did in clearing the brush out there so we can see the village and the valleys once again. So thank you, sir, Senator Bonisic, and Walt, again, please thank you guys for all the hard work they did in making that happen up there. I will entertain a motion. I think you've all had a chance to review the minutes from last month, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as published.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. Floor time.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
Of course. I watched the minutes. I wasn't able to be here last time, but I watched the minutes on YouTube. It was cut off before the end. So I was wondering what came of the presentations by Tara with the energy savings efforts, and I was wondering how far is the town council behind this initiative? And if so, how far have we come in, I mean, where do you think we are on the energy savings scale? I mean, are we?
Sure. Okay. There are some things that Tara came and gave a presentation on the Clean Energy Cities initiative. There are some things that we're already doing.
Yeah, I thought so.
There are some things that might be labor intensive. One of the initiatives in that dealt with electric charging stations for vehicles, and we talked about possibly putting one down on Veterans Plaza, or when Breaking Motors property is cleared, reclamation's complete there, or maybe both. So I think we want to pursue that, see how much we have right now, but that's about as far as we've gone.
Okay.
Anything else?
Oh, one.
Yes, please.
I've been talking about making the river more visible with, you know, I've been campaigning, and on the trail I've been talking to people about ways we could make, you know, a sort of an immediate step towards, you know, the revitalization of Delaware Street and Water Street. Making the river more visible keeps coming up. I was just wondering, what would that entail? Would that mean more thorough cleaning of the lands, you know, the bushes and stuff right at the river's edge, and what problems that might cause in, you know, flood mitigation issues?
One of the challenges, and Mr. Dutcher's, because we share him as the floodplain manager and code enforcement officer, right now he's down at the village board meeting, so he'll be able to give a better explanation as to the floodplain.
Yeah, I mean, would that actually cause more problems than it would solve? I don't know.
I would defer to him. What we can do, and we have in the past, some of the owners we have a lot of knotweed, and that's invasive species all along the river, so taking some of that. We used to have access to, by the cell phone tower, to the river as a fishing access point, and that's all overgrown too. We're going to kind of talk about that later on in the meeting.
Okay.
But to answer your question, what can be done? Let me, Walt, is that something that, at least where we have the boom, they might be able to take some of that down with the...
Yeah, that's not
we do cut it alongside the road, but as far as for the spread of knotweed, they claim when you mow it, especially this time of the year with the seed,
Yeah,
you're actually transferring.
right.
And if you don't wash the mower or make sure every bit's off, and then you go to another section of town
Right.
and do the same thing, it takes like, you can clean everything out and get it and leave one
That's
seed,
what I was afraid of,
and it
yeah.
comes back. That's not the preferred method to do it, you're not getting rid of it, you're doing the temporary thing to it.
Because we're only, I mean, we're only mowing, and all we can mow is along our right of way of town roads. I mean, if you're talking to make it more, so you can see the river more in the village, that's really
The villages.
the village issue, and a lot of that is, especially like on the other side of the river from our cell tower, that's all private land, a lot of that is, so. I mean, that's a, not that, I mean, I think it's a good idea, but you're gonna have to deal with private individuals, the village, I mean, we don't really, I don't think, else we got any land.
If the
along-
village asked, I'd be more than happy to go down
Right,
and do
right,
that.
we- yeah.
You know, I don't have, there's not a problem with doing
Right.
that. It's just that the short term, in the spring, when it's coming up,
Yeah.
that's usually one of the first places that we go when we mow that.
Mm-hmm.
And you come back like 2 days later, you can almost see it grow. It's like corn, sometimes you can
You're
hear
talking
it
about the
grow.
knotweed or?
Yeah, the knotweed, it grows, and it's not that it can't be done, but that's not really a long-term solution to that.
Okay.
And now they're claiming if you do dig it up, make sure you get all the roots, and now it's, used to be if you buried it a foot or two, they thought got rid of it. Now it's if you need to bury it, I think they're calling for like 5 or 6 feet deep, so that it won't come back. That's a huge problem,
It's all along the
yeah,
Delaware.
not just there.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Considering.
Bruce,
That's
Lillian? Okay, code enforcement officer, as I mentioned earlier, is down at village board meeting, so we'll table his report until later. So, Mr. Zulievich, town assessor.
Yes, put together a brief report here, an overview of what I've completed during the month of September. We did, following the reassessment, have one small claims assessment review STAR hearing. We prepared the documentation and I attended that hearing with our council on the 13th of September in Delhi Courthouse. We've had to respond to numerous school tax billing questions. It's the first billing following the reassessment and roll evaluation. Most frequent people are not finding where it's describing how much their STAR exemption was. And basically I direct them to the center of the sheet, the sentence on the bottom of that center portion, and people are finding it once they're directed. But that seems to have been a challenge for a number of people. We did identify 3 reassessment property valuation errors, one of which was the mapping service that EMPN used. Actually, the line of demarcation brought a utility over to a property where it didn't exist. We visited all 3 of those properties, investigated, recalculated, and reissuance of related school tax bills was requested from Delaware County Office of Real Property Tax Services for this year. Supervisor Gregory and I met with New York State Office of Real Property Tax Services Administrator John Walton, reviewed our options and recommendations for maintaining the town of Walton at a level of assessment of 100%. We will be investigating and discussing that further in the months to come. All trailer park, mobile home parks, I should say, all mobile home parks in the town have received their STAR exemption reconciliation report for their mobile home owners who are participating in the STAR program, and they did well. All income verification program, IVP program files and state files for the town of Walton were updated and are complete. Number of field inspections for new buildings, improvements that have been reported by the town code officer were completed during the month. And we did have some challenges. Delaware County Real Property RPS, Real Property Data System, residing in the county seat, we did have some issues with during the month. We could only do inquiring, therefore created some backlog in regards to general file maintenance work, which we'll have to address here hopefully early this month, as soon as they get those issues addressed.
Any questions on the assessor's report?
Nope.
Sounds like a busy month.
If,
Thank you for doing the report, that helps us
is there,
understand better the jobs.
yeah, if there's anything that you can think of as time goes on that the assessor should report, I asked him to come
Very
tonight.
thorough.
Yes. There's a couple other things that we wanted to talk about tonight, so I asked him to come here in the future, probably be a written report, much like we get dog control and all, but.
Yep.
That brings us to the next thing then, for the assessor, and did you want to address the property at the end of Delaware Street?
Okay.
Yeah.
We did, in one of the reviews with ANPM representation, they mentioned that there were two small parcels that they discovered on maps that for whatever reason in the past had not been posted in RPS, in the data system for tax billing. Those were added, however, their communication was lacking somewhat. We would like to address them somewhat differently as far as where the buildings went, and have those handled internally rather than at their home office. But we do have those two properties, two parcels identified. Again, they're very small parcels. They're bare acreage, and the board can decide going forward how they wish to address those and what they wish to do with them.
So again, just wanted to let the board aware, I guess options we have is we can approach the landowners adjacent to them and see if they would be interested in acquiring the land. If there or to do a land swap, or just take out, to put things in perspective for those that are watching online, the tax bill for one of them was $7.51, so we're not talking a whole lot of property, but it's just something that we need to clean up. So, I guess, thoughts?
So it shows, I guess I've got a couple questions, there shows nobody owns that land, or
Right.
The town is,
The
town
yeah.
does? How do we ever acquire ownership of?
I can only guesstimate. It would appear, in one instance, perhaps the individual who was on the border of town and village line felt that that little sliver of land was worthless and he didn't pay taxes.
Okay,
And somehow it didn't get followed up correctly.
yeah, okay.
That's right. Right on.
That's my uncle.
So I think we're talking, there's probably no real value to that.
No,
Other than maybe the neighboring
Right.
property owners may have some interest.
I think we'll have
Other than
to-
that, very, very minimal.
Yeah, where's the other one, there's one here? You said there's two?
do you remember what the one at Delaware?
You have to pull it as far as getting the exact address.
I think we'll have to check into the adjacent landowner, see if anybody's interested in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then with the board's permission, I guess I will send letters to them and see
Yeah.
if they'd be willing, interested in acquiring that land.
Right,
And we're gonna have to come up with a fallback. If nobody wants it, then it becomes ours to, and we're talking a very, very small parcel, not,
40 feet by 50 feet?
Yeah.
On this, yeah.
so, not really. Yes, ma'am?
Charlie, I'm sorry, are you referring to the properties located off Park Street and off Delaware Street?
Off
On
Delaware.
the agenda? Or Pratt property adjacent to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
and the park, thank you.
I can't remember the adjacent properties on the Park Street one.
That was
We'd
that
have
up,
to pull that up.
yeah. So,
I have a question. The town acquired these because they were unpaid?
I don't know where that is.
sorry,
Are these are unclaimed properties?
they are,
They were found on the tax map, and they were never assigned in the county real property tax services software to any individual. And basically when the NPM firm did a parcel by parcel via map, they discovered these two small slivers of land
Okay.
and transferred them to the town as there was no claimant owner.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll follow up with letters to the property owners and see if
Been
they're
missing for
interested
years.
in.
Did they say that happened often, or is
Yes,
that just
they
an
said that.
anomaly?
Okay,
They said at every reassessment they do, they'll find, they said they only found 2 here. They often, in particular, some of the real old towns, they'll find numerous where survey lines have changed and
Another
for whatever
place
reason they weren't caught up with or kept up with at the tax.
so is there ever a dispute from adjacent landowners that they say that's their land already, or?
Did not ask them that question.
Okay.
I have the RPS data on the Park Street property, but it doesn't, the map isn't clear enough that you can really see where it is. Okay. One of the things that, as Fran mentioned, we met with the county and the state real property to discuss our way forward, and do we want to maintain 100% land value as we have now after the complete revaluation? And if so, how do we want to go about doing that? Are you ready to give us some thoughts on that, or?
The discussion that's come up with, I spent a week in Cornell at training here a little over a month ago, and one of the breakout sessions, this topic came up. Some of the townships have worked very hard and spent a great deal of money to maintain 100% level. The state representation, Mr. Walton, and the director at state level strongly recommends we make efforts to do so. However, we have to recognize there is a cost in the administration and statistics of maintaining that. So, first step that I suggested in my discussion with Charlie was that we take the time to weigh all the alternatives, whether we do it exclusively internally at the assessor's level, whether we reduce the internal hours and have specialists participate. The goal and objective would be to find the most cost-effective alternative in delivering the board's desired results. So we still have some data gathering to do to be able to come up with that determination.
I asked the NPM to come, they were unable to come to tonight's meeting. We'll try to get them to come at our next meeting to kind of let us know what services they would offer, and now kind of give us a feel for what we have to look forward to as our options. A gentleman came in, one of the that really drove home the need to keep this 100%, why it was so valuable. An elderly gentleman came in a couple of weeks ago and said he was really struggling with his new appraisal because it now reflected what the property is actually worth. By doing this regularly and keeping it at 100%, that lets folks be ready. It doesn't come all at once as it does here. 30 years of waiting, it really hit some of our folks hard, so it's something that we need to look at very seriously as to how we're going to go about doing that. The timeline for 100% land, 100% level of that assessment is every 4 years you do a reappraisal of the properties. And each property over a 6-year period would have to be looked at, reevaluated either on a map using digital data or going in person. So they come up to how do we do that 6-year, and how do we want to go about doing the reappraisal every 4 years. So again, something to start thinking about is to, as we get more data, we'll have something to propose to the board. And next was the did you want to mention, Fran, the request, just info only at this point, the exemption request?
Yes, we received a a Form RP 412A, which is an industrial development agency's application for real property tax exemption for one of the parcels in the industrial park, address 120, Industrial Park Road. I did provide copies to the Delaware County Director, and they'll be going up there Wednesday of this week. Hopefully I'll get further direction. This would be an exemption for the 2018 roll going forward.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the assessor? If not, we'll go back to the highway report, which I skipped over.
I just thought I was done.
Wishful thinking.
I probably do too. As I look through the list here of things that have been on our highway committee agenda for a while, and I know Charlie's done some work on this, but I still have got logging down there with the job property, I still haven't heard anything like that. Last month, or maybe it was a month before, we talked about a stormwater grant that the CWC had to offer for planning and assessing of all the culverts, ditches, catch basins, and conveyances. Well, we were awarded the $50,000 to go ahead with that study and analysis. I thought by this time Charlie would have the contract from the CWC, so probably we want to take any action, but got to give some thought into, we had as you remember, they had recommended an engineering service to fill out the application, which they had done. I would speculate you'd want to hire the same one to go ahead with the study, but at some point, it's probably a little early if we haven't seen the contract yet. But in the application, though, the engineering firm thought that they could have that done by June of next year.
So I'd ask for approval upon receipt of that contract and our attorney's review, permission from the board for me to go ahead and sign that so that we can
Make
move
that
forward.
motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, passed?
And you want me to continue to pursue the engineering firm, which was CNS?
I would think so, yeah.
Yes.
They've done before. Also, when I heard news of that, I got thinking of other things, how we could tie all those things together. And I know here just recently, Steve's been working on with the CRS this past, since the last time we were awarded and got some reductions on that. There was a lot to do with drainage, where our culvert pipes are. They do have a copy of the list that, between what the county put together for us planning probably 10 years ago, that had the inventory that I had, and put that all onto a map. I'm thinking these also talks about hydraulic analysis, which is the amount of flow that could go through. I doubt they're gonna do all 1,570 of those culverts, and I wouldn't expect it so much for a driveway, but as you start to get to larger ones on that, I'd like to have Steve involved. I've already talked with him, at least in the initials, so that there might be able to gain some more points of what to maximize. And I do know that CNS, John, the engineer that I spoke with, he's a certified floodplain manager, so I would speculate he already has some good insight on that, but I think we can expand that to hopefully, and the same thing if we were to pursue for the clean energy. If there was some other things, I don't know how that would tie in, but I'm sure anything that we can do with this to expand that to help the cause, I think would be good. The next thing I had was stream grant projects. Every few years.
Before you go on, are we approving CNS engineers?
Yes.
Make a recommendation
You
for
make
that?
that as a recommendation?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Motion-
that we approve
Motion made and seconded. Zach, what we're discussing right now is, we have the grant for the company to do the engineering, the survey of all the culverts and
Right.
hydraulic. So, motion's been made and seconded that we approve that firm to go forward with the engineering. So, is there any further discussion? If not, motion is made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed?
So I'll reach out and connect with them and tell them such, but not to get too excited because we don't have a signed contract.
Right.
Or if they want to do it and not get paid, that's I'm fine with it. But I doubt that's something that they're going to want to do. But while we're on grants and that, it's time this year through the stream quarter management and the DEP and soil and water, where you can apply for 2 more stream grants. The last one we applied for a few years ago was for some grade control on 7/10 of a mile of Beers Brook where it's going down. But we're eligible for 2 projects, and we talked about a little bit at the highway committee meeting. We did talk with Greg afterwards, we had mentioned about the South River Road and possibly putting that through, and I gave him a couple days to think about it and went back. Looking at all the criteria that go through, he didn't think that was something that would be really viable, that they would not fit into it's relatively close to the water park. That's something that's never been done through the program, although there are some good points to that I think would be, and he felt would be advantageous, but he didn't think it was a good project at this time. Other projects there's a couple of small stream banks that could be done. I think we could do that in-house, but they're more looking for, and talking with the other technicians up there, they're looking for more of the bigger projects, the higher dollar projects along those lines. There's 2 of them, I guess, that I've had on the radar for a bit would be the grade control, where with both sides of the brook being armored, when you get the high flows, it seems to be cutting down. All the rock that we put in after the 2006 event, they were like 2 or 3 foot below the stream bed. They are now exposed, and the chance of those losing all the work that would be done. That's on Walton Brook, and pretty much from almost the end of the road down to State Route 10, and also with Pines Brook from the area about a mile up, down, that's happened. We have addressed 1 or 2 in there, but there's a big change in elevation, and I think we went out and looked at some of those. Another thing that might be out on the recreational would be the river walk, which was talked about tonight. I don't know how well that would fit in. If there's a bridge, that's a little bit more, and I don't know whether Place Alliance would be, and that's something I think the village of Delhi was able to get for their river walk up there. That's an option that we could apply for. There's nothing saying we're gonna get it. Every municipality in the watershed in Delaware County has been, between towns and villages. I have no idea what the villages, if they have anything in mind, whether that would be something, although it is on, the majority on, I think what we talked about was more on town property. We have till, I believe, November 3rd to get something, just a pre-application, which is a form, name, address, telephone number, a brief description, and a few pictures of what you want to do. And then if it is selected, go into a little bit more of a full-blown application on that. So I guess I'm looking for some direction.
Walt took me out to show me each of the sites. We looked at a lot of different streams, and you mentioned, like you said, some of them would be too small enough that we could do ourselves. The bigger ones, Walton Brook, Pines Brook, that would be a little more expensive. The River Edge Trail, again, the town owns property from the bridge to the cell phone tower. The state owns from East Brook to the bridge. Much like on Westbrook at the Austin Lincoln, there's a footbridge from the pool over to Austin Lincoln Field, something like that, ultimately going over to where Breaking Mortar's property is right now. When that's reclaimed, that would be an option. So those are kind of I guess, the 3 big. Your thoughts, please?
I would think that we ought to be protecting the ones that we've already invested a lot of money in, like Walton Brook and Pines Brook. I think we were responsible for them for 10 years, was it?
That runs out in October of 2017.
Yeah, so we're almost, but still, I mean,
But we did repair 1.
yeah, so I mean, we're
last
not,
month.
after October, we're not gonna be, but still,
We're not legally responsible
right,
in
but
the
we
contract
still,
with
a lot of
the-
money was invested in them projects, and if there's things that need to be addressed there to keep them where they should be, I would think that's where we should try to apply these grants.
And on the other side of that too, I'm not sure if there'll be any more grants through the stream quarter in this contract. It's kind of to the end of that. And whether the DEP and the city is gonna enter into another contract and have the fund, all indications are that they would. Bruce is probably more knowledgeable than that with the FAD and all that. keep in mind for other projects.
Once Breaky is out of there, maybe that would be the time if there's money
Right, right.
available to apply.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yep.
Where are we still standing with the, taking all that soil out of there?
For the brick and mortar
No,
property?
taking out the water street.
We have a flood commission meeting this Thursday.
Mhm.
That's one of the items that they'll be discussing. The soil,
They've been
NICEAG,
sitting on this for a while.
yeah, NICEAG has gotten the okay to go ahead and replace the gas line coming across the river. That's part of the shifting there. They're still hoping, the latest we heard, they're still hoping to start excavation sometime this fall.
But they don't even have a date yet.
They do not, no.
What's the hang up?
Part of it was the gas lines going through.
Yeah, well, that's
Relocating
already
that.
been solved, so,
They haven't actually relocated it though.
right, but they have to start that to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
So-
I mean, when is something gonna happen?
Sometime this, best they told us is sometime this fall. I don't have anything more specific. Hopefully,
There's no decision made.
I think it got into red tape, I shouldn't say, well, probably not red tape, but in part of the permitting process is for every different type of soil or any of the contaminants after they did the boring, they have to have a plan where every bit of it's gonna go. If there's metal in there, that's pretty easy, put in the dumpster, send it to Weissman's or send it to, if it's stumps or trees, it's gotta go here. But if there's other materials that are in there, try to decide how much quantity and come up with a plan. Not just take it out, oh, we've got this, now what do we do? Before it gets taken out, they have to have a plan of where it goes, and that's gotta be, as I understand it, that's gotta go through all the regulatory and all the, I don't know, I'm not sure if you're getting into permitting, I don't know. We're
Who
getting-
who has the
I-
final decision on this?
Soil and Water Conservation has taken the lead and working with CWC on the excavation, but it's meeting the permits that.
But do they budget it? Who pays for it?
The money's been put aside by CWC as
Uh-huh.
part of the grant money that was given. So, but it's getting the permits to authorize going forward and getting everything all cleared out.
The actual digging and all the permits from the DEC and the Army Corps, I believe, are done. But it's, I don't know all the exact details, but the way it's been explained to me is for every different thing that they come up with when.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff associated with this.
Who knows?
From flood insurance, relocating the floodplain, what's gonna happen with the entire River Edge deal, whether we can do a park in there for trailers or whatever. There's several businesses in town that are looking at,
I hear you.
using the area for like kayaking and stuff like that.
But you get the
So-
final approval to dig, can't do it. It's not a local thing, it's,
Well, it's like
More rules
it's
and
like
regulations.
the fishing access point that was approved and the soil was dumped in there and it never happened. So this is what I'm trying to do, we need to put the fire under somebody's behind.
sometimes with the state and all those bureaucracies, the EPA, the more fire you put on them, sometimes it can backfire too. It's out of our hands, it's nothing, I know between the town board and the village board, they wish it was done yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So I guess getting back to where I started the conversation,
Yeah.
on the Wakeman Brook and Pines Brook,
Pines Brook.
I think are probably our best options.
I'll entertain-
Historically, I don't think I've
Go
ever asked for
forward.
permission, we've just gone ahead and done them, but
I'll move.
I have a motion made that we put those two as our proposed projects. Do I have a
Second.
second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Alright.
Opposed?
so I'll move forward with that application that's on there.
Good.
County planning can, I plan on seeing Shelley probably Thursday, I'll touch base with her. It seems pretty straightforward, we've done them before. Taking up a lot of time here. It's that time of the year, even though it was 90 degrees or 80 degrees last week, it's time, by November 1st, we need to have seasonal roads declared. They're the same as they've always been. Chase Brook from downtown is line to Town Tompkins line, and Beers Brook from Rusgrave Pond to New York State Route 206. And it's sometime between now and November 1st. It's a little bit earlier this year that we're having a meeting, but I don't know if we need a motion on that.
Just need to place this for legal notice.
I'll give you that, but then I'll email it to you so you have it electronically.
And that way we'll have it entered into the rules.
And the boom mower did arrive. There was a couple codes that, when they unloaded, the check engine light was on, they came down and reset that. The speculation was, in doing that, looking at probably when they put the mower itself on, they disconnected something or something that and hooked it back up that they can't find anything. If it continues, they'll be right back down, so they say. We got into a little struggle, but we've tried to take some tires up to the landfill, and they don't seem to have a trailer to put them in. We have quite a few tires. I know previously Steve isn't here, we've sponsored something to get rid of tires. I guess I'm looking for directions. We have quite a few truck tires, the 22.5s, which are, probably got 2025 and
So they don't have the trailer there anymore?
no, they do, but
You know,
it's very sporadic when it's there, and what
there's
we were
full.
told was,
and that-
yeah, probably ought to call every day, every other day, because when we do get one in here, it's usually full in a day or two.
Mm.
And I really don't want to stockpile them down there. And then we've also got some tractor tires, well, actually off the
That big.
grader, which they don't take. I'm thinking it's up to 22.5 they take, the size, or everything up to that. I think it included that. But what we have in the tractor trailer, we got quite a few.
I think, didn't we, based on how well we did last year with the tire deal where we had 2 dumpsters down there that we
I
brought
mean,
in?
I can't remember whether that was the spring or the fall.
So-
We did that in the spring.
Was it this spring?
Yeah, we did that in the spring.
Maybe we could bring in a couple of dumpsters again this year and do the same thing this fall. And we'd get rid of our
Just,
own.
you know, that thought, because we're in the process of getting ready for winter. I hate the thought of it. So we're taking summer tires off and putting on some of them, or we've done it we'll have a few more.
But I would, I think if I remember right, it cost us about $200 a dumpster from the last year when we brought them in, or maybe $250.
I think it was $250. We got it, I think, through the same company that the landfill uses.
I mean, that's,
That's correct.
short term, that's an answer, but long term, we really need, I think the county needs to address this
I mean,
problem.
we take tires
Yeah.
up there, but it's
Because,
just,
you know, we're paying taxes, we're the host community, and, you know, I've had it happen to me, I take up less than what they tell you can take up, and, you know, we don't have room for them, you gotta take them back with you.
probably what we have right now is over the limit.
I forget, you can take 10, 12, something like that.
And
We had a couple days.
So it's not really that many, if you have any cars at all, it doesn't take long to, but it's kinda aggravating, and then, then we wonder why people are dumping them over the bank and stuff, just because they can aggravate them, follow them up there, so. I don't know what the answer is up there in the landfill, whether maybe they can put more pressure on the place it takes them to put another trailer in there, or what, I don't know what the real problem is, but it is, especially as the host community, I think we kinda get it stuck to us on that, so.
Okay, let's take two things. One, do we want to go with a dumpster again, a fall collection?
I think we'll have to address that, talk to Steve about that and stuff too, cause he's the one that headed that up with the
Somebody
scouts
man
and
it,
stuff,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, I'll, with board's permission, I'll
Yeah.
approach the,
I think if Steve is good with it, we should just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
and
I
that
guess
would,
I would make a motion to that effect.
okay.
I second
I have a
that,
motion made and seconded that we task the code enforcement officer with sending up another dumpster for tire recycle.
Is that,
And
is
then
that something
we
easy?
need to put.
No, I don't wanna, that's really not his job, if he wants to do it, then I'm fine with that, if he agrees to it.
Well, that's
I
what I
don't have
said.
a problem, but I don't wanna tell him he has to do that, because that's really not his job. I mean, now's probably a good time to do it after Derby season and everything, people, there's probably a lot of tires laying around, so.
But that was, that was my
Yeah.
suggestion,
Yeah.
or my motion, is that if he's okay with doing
Yeah,
it,
okay.
Okay, so if.
That we
he-
approach the,
we approach the,
And when it comes to the highway garage, we get first dibs on film.
Yeah, really, not a half
yeah.
full.
okay, yeah,
Because last time, I think we ended up, we brought 2 dumpsters in.
You have to put a public notice, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll put a little ad in the paper to let
Right.
people know.
Yeah. And,
The last thing I have, you can tell I've taken up all this time,
Before we go on, so that's the first thing, the dumpsters. The other thing is to follow up with the county and see if we can find a long-term solution
Right.
to the jettisoning used tires. So
Right.
that was, I didn't wanna,
Right, right.
I'd blow you
No,
off
that's
on
fine. No,
that.
no, that's
That-
fine.
that's-
Yeah. I know you'll follow up on it, so.
action passed, action complete, thanks, Kevin.
Now, that's just more for information. It was time to renew our speedies permit, which is the permit from the DEC to privilege of having floor drains, that go through the water oil separator and the water goes out. The last several years, $400 or $625. For this year, for some reason, when they sent the bill, there was also a brochure in there, and I happened to be looking through that. And it had a fee schedule in there, and it turned out to be the $675 was for the commercial and industrial, and municipality should have been $425. And it went by gallons per day, and that was for 200,000 gallons or less per day. We're lucky, and since that floor drain's been there, if we went through that much water that's gone in there. Anyway, I called on that, and it was their mistake, and they changed it to 425. And then the next day, I said, I forgot to ask a question, would that be, would you audit and go back, look through and give,
Retroactive.
are we gonna get a refund or a credit? And that got a response the next day of, nope, we only do it if you complain within 30 days. So I'm thinking, and it probably dates back, and actually one of the gals that I talked to, when you look back at 2009 when it was, then there was an amount there, so it's been, I don't ever remember, and I know Rhonda's looked at it too, and I have never seen
That
that
brochure
before.
has never been
No, and it's
included.
never caught my eye, I've never seen a fee schedule, and I never went researching to look for one, so. Anyway, it's been rectified.
Good.
I hope, she told me just to
Glad
change
you
that,
looked
and
at
they
it.
would change it in the system. I don't know if it's worth pursuing to go on, probably not.
Every little bit counts, so
It's just a little,
going forward.
if the shoe had been on the other foot,
Yeah,
I'm not sure what would've happened. But with that, I'll be quiet, unless you have any questions.
No.
I just want to follow up for the folks that are watching the video. We talked about the forestry. For those that aren't aware, the town owns property above the town sheds, and we've approached the forester to evaluate the trees to see if the town can earn money back harvesting. So that's what we're trying to do, is to save the taxpayers some money by harvesting some of the trees that are on our town property. And if nothing else, then town clerk, please.
Okay, I will provide the financial reports to the board as soon as they become available from the bank. It's a little early in the month. We received a public hearing notice for the Walton Fire District budget, for the 2018 budget. Currently, right now, they are showing an increase of 1.74%. And that public hearing will be held on October 17th. We have a use of facility request for a Christmas parade tree lighting to be held at Veterans Plaza. So I will need approval for that. That will be November 25th from 5:30 to approximately 7:30.
I'll move it.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Before you go, in addition to that, I was approached by a gentleman, they've done in the past, giving out popcorn, the Dewey family, and they've asked if they could do that again.
Okay.
Basically, it's during the Christmas parade, they just
Yep.
give out popcorn now, so, is there,
Same date.
same date, same time?
You need another motion on that?
Yes,
I'll move.
motion made,
Second.
made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passed. I'm sorry.
Alrighty. Okay, so it's required by October 5th that I submit a tentative budget to the board. So this is, actually, let me just give you there. And I also wanna give you, an estimate sheet that I did up. So as the tentative budget presented to you right now, the budget, from 2017 to 2018 is a decrease by 2.74%. That 2.74% is equal to approximately $52,000, less than last year. The tax levy is, from 2017 to 2018, is down 2.71%, which equates to approximately $34,000. This is contributed to us not needing the reassessment budget item anymore, and a reduction in some computer networking that we've established in 2017 that we do not have to carry such a large line item for 2018. So that is for your review for all the items, and then should changes come about, you can make them tonight, or you can postpone this until another workshop meeting. So you can either move it from the tentative to the preliminary tonight, or hold off for further review. Just as long as you have that done by, I gotta check my dates again.
November 2nd.
Yes, it would be, the budget has to be adopted by November 20th. And then, so we do have to have a public hearing by November 15th on the preliminary.
A couple changes that I think we talked about with email. The income revenue from the cell phone tower, we plus that up to reflect the increase that we've received, so that went up 5,000. And another change that we have is the flood and erosion control, that's 27,500, that'd be for flood gauges.
We did move money from celebrations to the veterans, so that's gonna be a change this year as well. We reduced the celebrations down to 500 and increased veteran services to 1,000. So not an overall budget change, but just a line item change.
And among some of the things that we use that money for is the flags for the cemetery, the stands that we put on the graves at the cemetery.
I suggest that we all review them and we have to have another meeting.
Do you happen to have a calendar on the clock?
Actually, right there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we just have to decide, next Monday being a holiday, when you want to hold another meeting. The only time that, well, I am not available on the 17th, I believe it is.
Okay, that's the night of the, I think that's the night of the fire district's budget. hearing.
Yes, it is.
7 o'clock.
Yeah, we've done 7 up to.
I don't know if,
That's 25 years anyway, it's only taking 2 minutes. You know how to make it longer?
our next board meeting is November 13th.
17%.
So I would have to have a notice to the paper. It would have to run for 2 weeks. So preferably, if we can have it third or fourth week.
You want like the 16th?
October you're talking about?
What
That's a
That's
Monday.
We could do it then,
Um,
I think.
I'm gonna be out of town that day.
Okay.
23rd?
What if we, going back to the 17th, could we make it later?
17th I can't do.
You can't?
No. The 18th is court, the 19th, that's a Thursday. And
I'm out of town the 18th through the 22nd, so.
You wanna go back to the 23rd then? Fourth Monday of the month. You be here then, Doc? Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, it works for
Kevin?
me.
I think so. I gotta check when I get to work on that thing, but I think it will.
1800?
6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Is that a budget workshop or a public, or a meeting?
That,
Budget workshop at 1800.
because if you move it to preliminary, I mean, it would be open, the workshop would be open to the public anyways, but,
Right.
I would schedule it for a meeting
Yeah,
if you think that you'll be moving it to a preliminary.
yeah, I would
budget.
think we would be probably, so.
So we'll schedule that as a special meeting.
What's the date
What's
again?
the date and time? I'm sorry.
That's Monday, the 23rd of October at 6 p.m.
You know, we could actually have a budget workshop for an hour beforehand and have a meeting at 7 or something, because that's about all we'll do is approve the budget, right?
Right.
Right.
So start with the budget, I'll advertise it as a budget workshop, with a special meeting to follow.
Right, right.
Okay.
Now, the tentative figures you put in here for an assessment, that's the total taxes on a $100,000 assessment, is that correct? Is that what I'm reading?
Yes, they are very tentative because, I would like, Office of Real Property to review them. We usually base that on 30,000 assessment. Well, now
That's
that
not
we're
realistic, yeah.
right, so I put that in at 100,000, but in order to get that figure for 2017 to do a comparable, it was very hard. I had to go back to the 26.6 percent. So I would really like those numbers reviewed, but that is very,
It's ballpark, yeah.
and then you notice, the rate change, the tax rate change as well. That's
Right.
gone down considerably because of the assessed values.
Yeah.
And then, just to touch as well, so you have that information as you're reviewing it, the tax cap, putting in the temporary figures, we would have a carryover of 20,000 from previous years. Our actual tax levy limit, we are, well, actually, it would be 3.48% of our, which is our tax levy limit, and we're looking at a reduction of 2.71 as this sits right now. So we're well under the tax levy limit. And I believe, that is all I have.
Okay. While we're talking finances, a bit of good news for the folks in Walton. State Comptroller's Office came out with their, the results of the annual physical stress monitoring system for the town of Walton. Again, Walton did very good. The best you can do is no designation, and we received that again. Basically what that is, the state comptroller looks at a lot of different variables to see what the township is doing fiscally, how we are. We're looking very good. So if anybody would like to look at this further, when we post the minutes, there's a website that you can go to, or you can go to the state comptroller's website, and you'll find a link from there that'll take you to it. But again, going to the website, you'll see a lot of good details that shows just how good the town is doing. So, something that folks can be confident that things are going well. One of the things that I forgot to do last month is the town had an opportunity to comment on the New York City's filtration avoidance determination document. And we did send a letter to Albany with our comments, and I'd like to share for the record for the folks who are watching the video just what we had to say on that letter. Dear Dr. Soko, the town of Walton would like to provide the following comment for the record regarding the New York City Filtration Avoidance Determination document, often referred to as the FAD. We strongly oppose the continuation of the New York City Watershed Land Acquisition Program as addressed in section 4.2 of the document. Our research shows that there is less than 6% land in the town that is still suitable for development. This severely hampers the ability to ever grow our tax base. This is particularly concerning when considering that our recent town-wide revaluation resulted in a 2.92% decrease in the town-wide assessed values and a 5.23% decrease within the village. With the limited developable land in Walton, further land acquisition clearly threatens the economic viability of the community. It is for this reason that the town of Walton calls on a permanent moratorium on the land acquisition program in the town and recommends that instead they dedicate those funds to the flood mitigation initiatives in Walton and throughout the county. So basically what we're asking is that New York City terminate their land acquisition program in the township and use that money for flood mitigation. One of the things that we've been working on for a while is to update our comprehensive plan. And as part of that, the county planning has come up with a questionnaire for a parks, recreation, and open space questionnaire. And you all have copies of this before you. There's two ways we can do this. We can send it out ourselves, or county planning department can send it out for us. I would recommend that we ask county planning department to send this out for us. Returning the questionnaires to the town hall, and I did ask them, and I'm waiting to hear a response, is if it would be a viable option for those that may want to email the results. They could scan it in and send it for those that don't want to come in. So I would entertain a motion that we request the county planning department to move forward with this questionnaire and send them out on our behalf.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed? I attended a recent Chamber of Commerce meeting here at Town Hall, and one of the things that they requested was that we entertain, if we had any objections to them placing 2 flower planters on Veterans Plaza, one on each of the 2 front corners. So I'll open that for thoughts, discussions.
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
As long as we don't put a lot of them down there, but having one on either front corner, I think is fine. It would help to delineate where the property lines are too, and maybe keep more people from driving out in there.
Then I'll let them know that we're okay with that.
They're gonna maintain them?
That will be a question I ask them, is how will they be maintained?
They take care of them now, don't they?
I think the individual shop owners do, the ones that are in front of them. So that, yeah, that's it. The next item on my agenda then is a follow-up. Folks may recall that back in July, the county planning department sponsored an organization, Place Alliance, to come in and hold a workshop. Actually, it was 2 days of workshops, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, and Friday evening, where folks in the community had the opportunity to come give their thoughts for what their ideas of how to utilize the Water Street reclamation area and what we could do to enhance Delaware Street and along the riverfront. They did forward a couple concept drawings, which I think I've sent to all of you. We had discussed this, I think, at our August meeting, and decided that we'd wait until these came in to decide how we wanted to prioritize. Most of the ideas that came up are village, fall in the purview of the village, but there are some that do fall into the town, such as what are we gonna do with the Breaking Motor site, the River's Edge Trail that we talked about a little bit earlier, and enhancing Veterans Plaza. Those all belong to the town, or eventually will belong to the town. So now that we've had these, I think it'd be worth entertaining what we want, how we want to prioritize these, and move that forward to county planning, that this is our top priority and where we go forward. So I'll open that for discussion, for thoughts. It'll probably be 2 years or so before Breaking Motors is fully reclaimed, and we can take that. Veterans Plaza, as Doc, you mentioned earlier, we're still waiting for the reclamation, and that's gonna impact that. But we own that right now, so we can start planning on that. We own the River Edge property, and we could start moving forward with approaching the state on using theirs, so. So time-wise, Breaking Motors is probably a little farther downstream.
But that kind of ties in with that river trail, doesn't it?
It
That's the
could.
problem, all this stuff ties into
Yeah.
something else that may happen, so.
What I'm thinking, again, my thoughts, if we move forward with the River Edge Trail, we could have design work done with the understanding that the Breaking Motors part would eventually tie in when it's ready, but we would start the rest of it now. And that would, as members of the public mentioned, that would, the planning phase of that and ultimately the execution of it could hopefully take advantage, we could use that to knock down the knotweed to enhance the visibility of the river.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
That's where the
that would probably be
access
the
point
top
is.
priority too. I mean, Veterans Plaza is, we've already done work there. I know there's more that, on their plans that we could do, but that's already an area that we can use.
What I'm thinking, again, we're equal here, this is a dictatorship.
Right.
My thoughts on Veterans Plaza is that we don't know how much, when they do the River Street reclamation project, how that's gonna impact Water Street. And if we'll be able to maybe include some work on that to,
Right.
to be included, so holding off on that.
So basically, we just gotta let the county know what.
Yeah, what I envision is a letter, letting them know that our top priority
Yeah.
is 1, 2, and 3, and we'd like to start moving out with our top priority as soon as possible. What is our next step?
You know, this drawing includes the trailer park back here.
Yeah, one does, and
Yeah, and
then,
the other one doesn't.
that's right, there's 2 concept
And
drawings.
the boat lounge would be where the regional fish access point was
That's right.
supposed to be.
Yep,
So, you know, that
And-
brings that back into play, and they both hooked up to the breaky area over there.
another advantage of the River Edge Trail, if we were to move forward with that, is, yes, we could reestablish that fishing access, but again, for the fire department, having a good access to the river from that
Yeah.
also.
I really think that the developing that river edge is gonna be good for the businesses here in town, so.
Probably that would be the first, and Veterans Plaza the second.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Okay. Then, just so we have, it for the record, I'd entertain a motion that we prioritize the town revitalization revitalization initiatives as number 1, River Edge Trail, number 2, Veterans Plaza enhancement, and number 3, the development of the braking motor site. I'll entertain a motion that we go forward with that.
A motion to move forward with it.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed? Thank you. In August, Delhi Telephone came and gave a presentation on what they're doing to increase broadband connectivity to underserved and unserved regions of the township. On August 30th, they submitted a application for the next round. And although it won't be awarded right away, they're waiting hopefully, they hope to hear by the end of the year if they win that next contract. But that would be even more portions of the town of Walton that would be covered with broadband connectivity. So we'll keep you all posted, but again, there's still a lot of areas in the town that don't have it. Delhi Telephone is hopefully gonna be able to move forward on that as well. Do have a proposed amendment to the 2017 budget and a resolution to support that. And this is moving $100,000 from the DA equipment reserve to the DA machinery, and that's to cover the tractor and that we just received and the boom mower. So I'll entertain a motion that we make that transfer.
So move.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Maybe to help clarify things when somebody looks back at it, that it's, we add the boom mower in there
Yes.
so that somebody doesn't think we bought a $100,000 farm tractor for.
Oh, I see, yep.
So the resolution would be, a motion has been made, $100,000 from the DA equipment reserve to DA 5130.2 machinery to cover the purchase of a Massey Ferguson 5710 four-wheel drive tractor and boom mower.
Thank you.
And that'll leave, how much will that leave in our equipment reserve, just,
Is it about 30?
170?
yeah.
Okay. So, do we get a motion on that?
Yes, I
Councilman
guess.
Armstrong
Motion made.
and Rodriguez seconded.
Okay,
Yeah.
then, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed? Okay, 2018 budget, we've already set up, we're gonna have a workshop.
Wait a minute, there's 2 resolutions. You did
Oh,
the
okay.
resolution, to use, money out of the equipment reserve.
Okay.
Now we need a resolution to do
Amend the budget.
amend the budget, yeah.
Okay, and the, what I'll be looking for is a motion to amend the budget. DA 201, DA checking, we debit that $100,000. And we'd credit DA 889, equipment reserve, $100,000. And that'll fall into the subcategory of machinery equipment.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay, a quick update for the folks that, some of the activities going on up at the county. On September 27th, we had, the Board of Supervisors had a presentation on different options for the Department of Public Works relocation. Presentation should be available. If it's not, it wasn't Friday. Hopefully it will get on this week that you can go and review that. Go into the county, Delaware County website to see what was presented. Again, they looked at the different options of where to locate that, gave us the consultant some of the criteria they used. Among the things they talked about was the current location in the heart of Delhi. To do that would take an 11-foot wall to put around the area and then fill it up to bring it up to high enough out of the floodplain. The site that they looked at Stanford has fallen off because of the bridge. It just would not be able to accommodate the trucks. So still looking at the Delhi site in the center of Delhi, County Route 18 across from Elk Creek, the Gavitt Farm or Bishop Farm, and also Delancey, the McNee Farm on the backside of Delancey. They also looked at a hybrid option. That would be having multiple locations, one site for the plows and sand structure maintenance, and another site and administrative function in the third site. Again, not very cost effective. So folks want to learn more about that, they can go to the Delaware County website and see the briefing themselves. The Office of the Aging, relocation from the current facility to the new facility at 97 Main should start this week. So you'll see if you're passing through Delhi, you may see folks carrying boxes from one to the other. So hopefully moving forward. The mental health facility, still working with consultants, they're looking at different options, so nothing really new to report to folks on that. And finally, just as the town's working on our budget, the county's been working on the budget as well, getting inputs from the committees and forwarding to be combined. So those are kind of the activities that are going forward up at the county seat. Are there any committee reports?
Building and grounds, Patty and I have been emailing each other back and forth on guidelines for the use of Veterans Plaza, so hopefully we'll have some ideas in writing for next month.
Anything else?
I have something I forgot.
Yes, sir.
Probably should report on the declared event back in March. Haven't heard much other than they needed some more information. Wanted some canceled checks. And I forget what else. Anyway, that's all been submitted. And I haven't heard anything back from them, so I speculate it's all good. And I have no idea when I'll hear from them again.
Okay. If nothing else, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the abstracts as printed in the minutes.
So I'm
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. I'll entertain a motion that we go into executive session. Folks, what we're gonna be talking about is potential litigation, contract options for maintaining future levels of assessment, and 2018 salary discussions. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion made, and seconded, go into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
I have a list of seasonal roads